All right, guys, welcome back to the Failing Stars podcast, where we talk all things precision rifle. A couple of things before we get into the episode today. Just a reminder, we do have the NRL Hunter Dust Devil duo coming to Amarillo, Texas. It's going to be April of 2025 next year. It's the first national level 2-day match in Amarillo, and it's 15 minutes from the airport, 10 minutes from downtown. So if you want to come try out NRL Hunter or try a new venue, come try it out. It's gonna be fun. Or we do need ROs. If you would like to RO, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. We are going to be paying our ROs, which I'm really excited about. So trying to help you guys out with some of the travel expenses. We've already got a handful of sponsors that have committed, and some of them are coming in pretty good. And I think you're going to see some things that you might not have seen at a match before. So I'm really excited. So if you want to come shoot the NRL Hunter match, it's going to be freaking awesome. But today we've got Mr. Shayne Ward joining us. How are you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Good. Shayne just won the 2024 PRS Rimfire finale, which also clutched first place overall for the 2024 season. So a huge congratulations, dude. I'm stoked for you.
I appreciate it, man. I am. I'm still on a high for sure. For sure.
Good. Good. Well, I mean, let's just get into it. So okay, well, for those that don't know you or haven't met you yet, tell us about yourself. Who is Shayne?
Uh man, I'm just Shayne. That's good and bad, I think. Uh my name's Shayne Ward. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. I've I mean, a little back history, I guess. I grew up hunting and fishing. I've always been into shooting of some sort. Never ever really shot any kind of competition or anything like that. Um, I guess about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a lease in Oklahoma. I had a shooting range there, and kind of made a shooting range. I got into one to shoot long range, and center fire rifle actually led me into playing with 22s, and I ended up swore I'd never spend that much money on a 22, but I ended up with a voodoo and playing, and I met some guys up there that their big thing is they would get together. I think it was on a Sunday. They would get together Sunday afternoons and barbecue, cook out, and drink beer, and they would have 22, kind of like a bench or bullseye competition kind of thing. It was
Oh
just an
yeah.
informal thing, and I went and did that a couple times, and mostly it was just to hang out with the guys and friendly competition. Bet 10, 15, $20 here and there, or whatever. But man, a friend of a friend told me I should go. Said, "Oh, you got a voodoo? That's cool. They shoot these in PRS." And I was like, "What's PRS?" Told me a little bit about PRS, and said, "Yeah, man, they shoot. They shoot. Not very far from here. They have competitions once a month." And man, it intrigued me enough that I decided, I'm down for anything once and twice if I like it. Uh, I went and signed up, and man, it was downhill from there. It was the
Where
beginning
was
of
this
my
match at?
what's that?
Where was this match at? Your first
It was
Rimfire match?
at a place they called North Texas Rimfire, basically Valley View, kind of in between Denton and Gainesville,
Okay.
here in North Texas, and that was the path to my financial irresponsibilities, as we all know. So that's what led me into it, and I mean, right after I started shooting, playing with rimfire, I knew I wanted to go shoot with the big boys, and immediately started looking into seeing how I could get involved in shooting center fire too. And man, I think that was 3 years ago now. I think I shot my first match in 21. Shot one or two matches there in 21, and then in 22, I decided I was going to be serious about it, and my set of goals I wanted to be. I thought a reasonable goal was to be top 10 in the Central region shooting 22s, and don't get me wrong, that is definitely a respectable goal. But I think 5 or 6 matches into it, I had a 300, and it just I think 22 in 2022 I won. I don't remember, man. I won 15 or 16 matches that year shooting rimfire, and had a 300 going in. And about the time we were getting ready to go to I think it was about the time we were getting ready to go shoot the regional finale, was held at Justin Watt's place at Falbor, is when I met Caleb and kind of started hanging out with Caleb. And he was shooting production and I was shooting open class. And he's shooting one of those Walmart guns. And he ended up, man, I shot really, really good at that finale. And he ended up at the end. I had a horrible stage, my last stage. And man, he ended up beating me by, I think, I don't remember. He knows exactly. I promise you, he knows
I bet
exactly
he
what it
does.
was. But it was 3 or 4 points, and he ended up beating me by, and it was enough. I had a 300 going in. I think he had a 297 or a 298, but it was enough that he got me by like, I want to say it was all said and done like 0.18 points. And man, if I live another 100 years, I'll never hear the end of that one. So, but
Yep.
no, man, it's spiraled into. I've met a lot of great people. I've had a absolute blast doing this. There's a lot of really cool people in this, and very fortunate to be a small part with a lot of that, the bigger picture. So
That's awesome. And it's for those that may or maybe new to this or new to PRS. So when he says he had a 300, so the PRS takes your top three scores for the year, and if you win the match, you get 100 points. If you don't win the match, your percentage of impacts compared to the winner is how many points you get. So Shayne had a perfect score going into the finale, which you did this year too as well, right?
yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. And so that was in 22. Not to interrupt you, but that was in 22, and then 23, I came back and I started shooting more centerfire then. I didn't shoot a whole lot of rimfire, but I also had a perfect score going into 23, and I was able to clinch. I didn't actually win the central finale match, but I had enough points to win the region. So I won the region last year and then again this year. So that was again, I didn't shoot a whole lot of rimfire. I focused more shooting center fire. Um, but it's kind of one and the same. I tell a lot of people that shooting rimfire teaches you wind. I feel like it's a great as far as going through all the motions, is building positions, being using time wisely on the clock. All of that portion of it, I don't know that there's a better. It's definitely more efficient than dry firing, in my opinion, because you're actually sending something down range, and you're learning. You're having to. I mean, you really have to focus on wind to shoot this stuff, depending on the range that you're at. But the one thing it doesn't teach you is rifle control, and you know, you get lazy behind a gun if you play with rimfire a lot. And you go pick up a big gun, you know, you're like, whoa, what was that? You know,
It recoils.
yeah. So that was one of my biggest. That was my biggest thing as far as, you know. I had shot enough matches playing the rimfire game to that I didn't have an issue when I started shooting centerfire as far as, you know, I don't know the right word I'm looking for, but as far as time management and getting through, you know,
Yeah.
getting all the shots off, that kind of thing. I didn't have building positions. All of that was, you know, I'd done enough of that. It was where I really struggle was, you know, seeing. I really didn't even struggle hitting the targets, but it was when you hit them, you can't. Where did I hit it at? I got to send the same shot, you know. So that's been my biggest thing. And you know, if I take these big glasses off, I'm legally blind anyway, you know. So I struggle. I struggle with that for sure. But it is
Okay.
what it is. I love it.
So, so tell me about the match. Where was it at? You know, kind of. Well, I mean, what'd you think of the match? How'd it go? I mean,
Well,
obviously it went well.
the match was in. It was at Gadsden Shooting Center.
Hmm.
I believe. I think it's Iberia, Missouri.
Okay.
Really, it was probably about 40 minutes east of Lake of the Ozarks up there. Um,
Okay.
Beautiful place. Both where we stayed, Stephanie found us a little Airbnb that was right on the lake, and I mean, man, we had a beautiful view.
That's
It was
awesome.
really cool. But about 40 minutes to the range from there. Drove up on a Thursday, got there Thursday afternoon, and settled in. Knew I wanted to get a good night's sleep and go to train up day or whatever. And Friday showed up at the range, and about anything that could go wrong did. Dope didn't line up, nothing lined up. It's a lot cooler up there than it was here in Texas, and I knew I was gonna run into that issue, but I wasn't expecting it to be as bad as it was. But nothing lined up, and then like a dummy, I'm playing in the Kestrel trying to get everything lined up and deleted the profile. And
Oh my God.
yeah. So for the next 5 to 10 minutes, panic ensued. But I pulled it all together and figured I was like, okay, well, I had some of my notes saved of what was what, and you know, and so luckily there was enough targets there that I could kind of. I mean, it didn't line up anyway when I got there, but if I wouldn't have, as you know, I wouldn't have deleted that profile. I'd have saved that profile, started over, and kind of
Yeah.
been able to backtrack. But yeah, well, shit happens, right? So anyway, that train up day was good. Played around. Joe and Reagan were there. Reagan come in there, you know, and destroyed everybody on all of the. They had a bunch of side stages, and I think it was like $5 to shoot a side stage, and the fastest clean basically won it. And I went through and shot them all, and I wasn't gonna. I'm old. I wasn't gonna waste all my energy. I knew I had 2 days ahead of me, you know. But Reagan come in there, and I mean, he destroyed everybody, and it wasn't by a little. It was
That
that
kid's
kid.
so fast, man. He's so
Oh
good.
man, and I've joked around because I can shoot a barricade pretty fast. And I've always made jokes with people that when I run a barricade, people say, "Oh, no rapid fire," you know, no rapid fire. But man, that kid, I was talking with Joe, and I told I said, the only problem, we were sitting there watching him shoot one of those. I said, the only problem with him shooting like that is he still shoots that fast when he don't need to, you know. But
Yep.
he's a good kid. They're good. They're good, very good people. But he destroyed everybody, and it was the funniest thing. I'm jumping ahead, but he won all three of those side stages, and I want to say he won like $1,100 or it was
Yeah, I
over a
think so.
thousand. It was over a
Yeah,
thousand
I was talking
dollars.
to Joe a couple days ago. He's telling me about it.
Yeah, yeah. So in the award ceremony, they called him up there, and they Doug Bose, which is the match director. I'll get back on course this, but Doug Bose, match director, he totally butchered his name. I think he called him Regon Stumer. Regon Stumer, come get your money, you know.
Oh my God.
But it was funny is he come walking. Reagan went up there and got all the money, and he come walking back, and he handed all the money to his dad, and everybody started laughing. And Joe turned around, and gave him $20. You know, I died laughing. I died laughing. But no, so back to the story. It was Friday train up day. I felt good leaving there, and you know, I shot enough 2 day matches this year with shooting the pro series and stuff that I knew it was. You can't get worked up over one stage. You
Yep.
gotta. It's a marathon, right? And so I just knew that I just had to keep my head down. I had a good feeling that I knew going in that all I needed was to not have a bad day, basically. That I felt, and I hate sounding, I feel like it sounds cocky when I say that. I hate sounding that way, but I felt like I
No,
had
but
what
I get what you're saying though. Just
I
do
felt
what
like
you
I
do
had what it takes to compete at the top level. I just needed to have
for sure.
a decent day, you know. And day one, the first stage, I dropped 3 points. It was cold, and it was, you know, playing the rimfire game, man, is not. I wish I could call Phalanx Arms and order rimfire, you know, ammo. It's you're kind of dealt the hand that you're dealt, and that's you got to that's what you play with, you know. So that's the thing about it is, you know, you're at the mercy of the ammo, and it's not anything to do with you. It's not anything that you can do for me.
Yep.
It's literally, you know, you're gonna have, you know, chalk it up to rimfire. You know, it's part of it. You're
Yep.
gonna have some that don't go anywhere you plan for them. You know, where did that one go? Well, you know, but day one, I dropped 3 points on the first stage, but it was a long range stage, and it was, you know, the wind was not crazy, but it was, you know, you're shooting 300 yards with a 22. Um, in a 40-degree morning with some wind, it's I think there's as much luck as skill involved sometimes, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I took it with stride. I cleaned the second stage. The third stage was a tough stage too. Shooting out of a bus, and we had some targets that were, you know, over, I think, over the 200-yard mark. I dropped two on one of those, and the other one was, man, I had about four targets worth of wobble and was able to hit that one target once, you know. So dropped three there, but overall pulled it together, and I knew that it was a long match, and I finished the day. You know, I dropped six in the first three stages and only dropped two more the remainder of the day, and one of those was, like I said, I was clean, 9 shots, 10th shot, you know, perfect trigger pull, holding perfect, and have nobody in the three surrounding squads had an idea where that round went, you know. So that's rimfire. But man, I felt good. Um, I called I called Caleb, and after day one, and told Caleb, you know, for those who don't know, and I know you know this, but you know, me and Caleb been shooting together for years now, and we are uh, we push each other and give each other a hard time. But I called Caleb, and Dan was in the background, and they're both giving me their normal shit, and I told him, well, how'd it go? I was like, I feel good about it, man. I knew I had put myself in a position that I was still in it, for
Yeah.
sure. And knew I'd put myself in a position to where day two mattered, let's say. And when day two come on, I went. We ended up going out to eat with some friends. Stayed up later than I wanted to, but we went and ate with some friends and got back to our Airbnb, and I went straight to bed. And I woke up early the next morning, and man, it's one of those things where I don't know how to explain it. I woke up, and you don't want to. I hate to say I'm a little superstitious, but you don't want to jinx yourself. But I woke up, and it was the weirdest thing, man. It was like I'd played it all out in my head, and I hate even saying this, but it's like I knew I was going to win it, and it was the weirdest. It's the
Oh yeah.
weirdest thing. But man, it actually all came down a lot like what I imagined, and it just it all went together. And man, I tell you, I don't know if I'm going too fast or too slow through the story, but
You're good.
I first couple stages were good for me. I think I dropped one on the second stage, but it was I kind of figured up where I was. I think I was tied for second place after day one, and I think I was 2 points out of the lead. And I try not to keep track of that stuff because I feel like that's just something else that you're thinking about,
Yeah.
and not any thought that's off of your normal process of hitting targets is not a good thing in my opinion. But I kind of knew where I was sitting, and um, second stage I dropped. I cleaned the first stage, which always first stage jitters, even on the second day, getting that out of the way. And the stage wasn't really a super easy stage, but I got that out of the way. I was like, okay, let's do work. And then second stage was a tougher stage, and I've seen a lot of guys struggle with that. And the wind was blowing a little, but I think guys were struggling with it. What I saw the wind doing and where I saw the misses, I figured, man, they're not really missing because of wind. They're missing because of stability. It was shooting off of a cattle gate, and man, I just told myself, whatever you do, don't pull the trigger unless you're stable, And I got out of there only dropping 1 point, and I felt good about that because I watched guys bleed on that. And then the third stage of the day was a 20 round stage, kind of a
Oh
crazy
wow.
deal. It was three. If I remember, I was three KYLs, and no, I'll take that back. There was a KYL at distance, and then once you shot a certain amount of targets on that KYL, you came back to a closer distance and had to shoot three targets, and it ended up being a 20 round stage. You started, gear in hand and went prone on the hood of a like an old Jeep or something. But I cleaned that stage, and I seen there was a lot of guys that dropped 1, 2, 3 here and there, and I knew when I cleaned that stage, I was like, man, you've put yourself in position now. Just keep it together, dude. Keep it together, And so I won't bore you with all the other details, but I knew 3 or 4 stages ago that I was fairly sure that I was leading my squad. I was shot in squad one. But there again, just because I'm in squad one, there was a couple of us that had perfect scores doesn't mean that somebody wasn't.
Right.
I was down 8 day one, and I think I was down 4 for day 2. That put me down 12. Yeah, is where I ended up finishing. And that doesn't mean that somebody you miscalculated somewhere, and a guy that
Right.
started in squad 2 wasn't only 2 points down on the match.
Yeah.
So, but I knew with 3 or 4 stages to go. I figured with 3 or 4 stages to go. Worst case scenario, I was going to get a trophy at the national finale, and I was pretty pumped about it. The last stage, man, it was we shot stages 1. Squad 1 started on 1. Last stage was stage 21, and man, it was a stage where it was easy to get mixed up, easy to get kind of off targets or whatever, or out of sequence or whatever. And in the wind, I sat and watched the wind flip. I was watching Mirage, and I watched the wind flip 3 or 4 times and have people off both sides of the target. And I thought, man, I played the mat or the stage through my head at least 20 times. I knew exactly every movement I was going to make and how fast I was going to make that movement, so I had time to get on the gun and check Mirage every time. And dude, it all worked out. And I tell you, I'm not afraid to admit it. When I sent that last shot, it was clean. I was 99% sure that I had just won the Golden Bullet Rimfire, and man, I couldn't keep it in. It got me. It got a few of the people there. A few of the people there in the squad were. It kind of broke them up that I was teared up, and Stephanie being there, and she was cheering for me the whole time. And man, it was something that it's something I'll remember the rest of my life. It might have been just a rimfire match, but it was a cool deal. So
No,
um,
dude, that's so awesome, man. I love that.
yeah.
Okay, so so to backtrack a little bit, so what what did you end up having to change in your profile to get everything to line up? Like what wasn't jiving?
And I really don't know what happened. I so I won't go into a whole lot of detail on here about how I do those things, but I run a DSF for rimfire, and that's pretty uncommon. I've told a lot of people about it, and then there's people that they know better, let's say, and think that's not the way to do it. So I'm going to keep my way and teach those that want to know. But for whatever reason, when I got there, I was just super super high at distance. I mean, I'm talking 2 3 foot high, 300 yards, and I had made a small change in my data. I tested. Uh, so I drove to Missouri on Thursday, and Wednesday morning it was cold here, and so I jumped in the truck and went before daylight even to Gravestone at Jake's place, and remind me to talk about that. Um, I got there. I got there before daylight with my headlights on the zero board and was shooting because it was cold. I was trying to get that kind of data, and I was a little low at distance, and I instead of the bad part of it was crazy windy. It was like 12, 13 mile an hour winds, and you're shooting 6 tenths at the zero board. It's like it's rimfire. It's hard to make yourself want to make a change to anything, but I was a little low at distance, and I thought, man, I'm going to just try to squeak something in there. And I don't know if I corrupted that profile or what at that point, but when I got there, I was super high at distance, lined up everywhere, but really high at distance. And I don't even think that I got it back perfect after I deleted that profile, but it was, man, it worked. It was close enough, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Okay. So what was your favorite what was your favorite stage at the match? Because there
man,
are some things with rimfire that they can do that we can't do in center fire. That can be fun.
yeah. What'd you say?
Just some of the stuff that you can do in a rimfire match
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
can't do in a center fire match can be fun.
yeah. I mean, you can shoot them unlimited rounds, basically.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about burning the barrel up. But I would say, honestly, so they had some. They had a was kind of a fun stage. I looked at it as, man, it could be a disaster. But instead of the traditional mover, they had a you were the mover. They had like the best way I can describe it is like you were like in a coal mine cart type situation on a track.
Really?
Yeah, and so you got in this cart, and they let you get in the cart and put a rifle on the rail, and it was fairly solid. When I got on it, I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be no problem," until it started moving, you know. But yeah, so they had a near far target arrangement, and they weren't really far even in rimfire terms. They were like it was like an 85-yard target and a 105-yard target, something like that. And the target was generous, but you were the actual mover instead of the target moving, and so that was kind of neat. I don't know. In my opinion, that didn't really have its place in a national finale. I've seen a lot of guys like just bomb that stage. I was like, oh gosh, that could be me. It's my turn next. But I made it through there. I only dropped one on that, and but that was a fun stage. But man, I gotta say, they had a lot of really cool stages there, and it's hard to pick out one. I've got horrible memory when it comes to that kind of stuff. But man, stage 21 was it was a tough stage. It was easy to get screwed up in it. And it was the last stage, and it was all over. So I'm going to call that my favorite.
Okay.
All the stress was gone. You've done what you could do, and it's over with. But
Yeah.
no, overall the match was great. You could tell that the match director, again, Doug Bose, and I know he had a lot of help. I think, some other match directors from the Central region up in Oklahoma that went and helped him. I really don't know. I don't want to say who did what or whatever, but I know he had some help, and
Yeah.
it turned out, man, it was a awesome match. And you're not ever going to make, there was a few things that I would have liked to not see there, but there again, I might come shoot your NRL Hunter match, and there might be a few things. And same thing, if you come and
Right.
shoot a match for me, you're not going to make everybody happy all the time.
Right.
Overall, the venue, the match, the awards area, the awards banquet deal where they did the awards banquet, and Stephanie, she loved it. I loved it. If it wasn't so far away, we'd go up there and get married. It was really, really beautiful place. I mean, the whole everything was cool about it. So
Yeah.
overall, A+.
Hell yeah, man. So okay, so tell me what's your setup? Like what all are you running for your
So I've always ran a voodoo. Um, Kind of a crazy deal. 2 weeks before the finale, you might call me crazy. I had a rifle shipped in. I got a chance to get a desert. This is going to be French to you, but I had a chance to get a Desert Precision Gun Works, a guy named Kenny out of Arizona.
Arizona?
Yeah, do you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah, so super cool dude, and man, he's he's right on the cutting edge of everything that he does with these things, and he is building a. He's not the only one doing it, but he's building. He's taking a Rimex. If you know anything about how a Rimex works, it's a both Rimex and a Voodoo are controlled
Mhm. Control
round
round
feed.
feed.
Yeah, but a Rimex has traditionally has a fixed extractor on it, and so if it when it picks the round up, the rim of the case slides behind the extractor, and if for some reason the only downside to that setup is for some reason it gets pushed into the barrel in front of the extractor, or if the extractor slips off of it, when you go to run another round in there, it can break the extractor, and you're down for the stage. Well, um, Kenny is taking the bolt head of that and machining it and putting CZ extractors with a spring, so spring type extractors on those, and man, it really it eliminates any and all negativity of a Rimex as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you could even go at that point, other than you need to have extractor grooves cut in the barrel. With a Rimex, you can run anybody's pre-fit kind of deal. So
Yeah.
you can try different stuff. But man, the gun ran kind of crazy. I've had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, you're crazy! You trained your whole setup, 2 weeks before the finale." But man, the gun shot phenomenal. Um, couldn't ask for that. But you know, I don't know. It's a lot of times you want to say it's the Indian, not the arrow kind of thing, but it definitely don't hurt to have a freaking hammer of a gun either. It's a
Right.
confidence thing.
Oh,
It's a
100%.
confidence thing for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah, I took my rifle out a couple days ago just to shoot, just to build confidence, get to leave for the finale, and I feel great.
well, that's good, buddy. That's all. That's what it's all about.
Oh, dude, it was because I got a Samson came in, so I swapped it, put the Samson on, I
Yeah,
put
how
the
you
Chad
digging
on,
that?
and then I got up on a barricade and shot like a 2-inch group at 500 yards, and I was like, that's gonna do it.
Yeah. Are
uh,
you are you digging the Samson?
bro,
Yeah,
I love it.
man.
Hey, I've only shot with it once so far, and I'm a diehard foundation guy, but it it essentially takes everything that you already like in a foundation and improves on it. It just
Yeah,
the grip in that stock is a game changer. It's so comfortable, and then all the modularity that they put in it, and dude, I love it.
yeah,
Absolutely,
man. It's
it's
I've
heavier for sure.
yeah, I've played around a little bit with Caleb's. Man, I love it, and I've always been a chassis guy. That's what I've always shot, and but picking that up makes me want to be a stock guy, for sure. And the fact that JK and the family are just like
The best.
overwhelming support of the community and everything that they do. I just think that's they don't really know me. I know them through the Caples and all
Mm.
that, and but man, they're such great people, and I you could twist my arm and make me shoot a foundation, that's for sure.
Well, next time we're at a match, you can shoot it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you shot a Rim-X done by Desert Precision.
Mm-hmm.
What in the XLR, right?
No, I switched everything, me being a chassis guy. So I played with a MDT Elite, and man, I, the center fire side of it is what made me like, man, I got to have one of these. I've always shot XLRs, um, but everything MDT on it, you know what I mean? As far as
Right.
accessories and everything, and MDT is, in my opinion, they're just they're what they're not innovating, they're buying companies that are,
Yep.
and they're just, and I don't mean that in a negative way. They're just
Oh yeah, no, they're doing great things.
awesome. Yeah, awesome. And man, shooting that MGT Elite in centerfire, I just thought I had it great with the XLR. It is, it's got the deadness of a foundation and the ergonomics of a chassis, and it's, man, I really dig it. And ended up with a super cool American. I wish I'd have brought the gun up here. Could have showed it to you. I got a cool American flag theme. It fit the Nationals and
Oh
all that.
yeah, I
So
saw that. Yeah, it was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So it all worked out good. But I loving
Um,
it, loving it.
okay, so what what barrel length are you running?
So that one's, so the way he does them is, he cuts them at rimfire things, at the pinch point or whatever. But it's 24 and a half to 25, somewhere around in there. So
Okay,
it's a
so
one. It's a
it's
1-2. I think it's a 1-2-0. So that is
okay.
one of the things about Kenny. So that barrel, one of the things I think is really cool about it is, my understanding is that I don't know who is making the blanks for him. And when I say blank, this is not a Krieger blank or a Bartland blank or whatever. This is he's getting a blank. He is getting a raw piece of steel. And hopefully I'm telling this straight. I've never had him tell me this directly, but this is from watching and reading other stuff. But he gets a blank without a hole in it, and he nitrogen air drills a hole through this deal, and then through the blank, let's call it, and then EDM wire cuts the internal diameter, and then he puts his own rifling in it, and it's like a cross between a traditional rifling and a. Do you know what Schilling ratchet rifling is? You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it.
It's
I
not
have
a. It's not exactly a traditional rifling, and that's way over my head. But just know the dang thing shoots. It hits the
yeah.
same spot. It'll on a calm morning, that's not super cold, it'll rival some center fire 100-yard groups. It's
That's
impressive.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and what scope are you running?
And I've always ran Night Force. I've played with all of them. And I've gone back there. I've got Night Force on everything. It
The
just
7 to 35?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. I run a So the only difference in all my scopes, I run a Mill C on all my centerfire stuff. No tree, and
Yeah.
on the rimfire, we do a lot more holding over with the
Yeah.
rimfire than I do centerfire. So I run a tree in that, and I don't honestly know that it's necessary, but I run a Mill XT
Okay.
on the rimfire side of it. Yeah,
Uh, Scope mount,
spurs on everything.
spurs on everything.
And I set a rifle up a lot different, I think, I'm not going to say different than everybody, but I run a cheek piece as low as possible. I run a jaw weld, and I run an inch and a half uh, high
Ring. Okay.
range or mounts. I shoot a rifle more upright than a lot of people. As far as I can't. People ask me to shoot the rifle. Hey, check this rifle out. And they got their cheek pieces way up, and they run the inch and a quarter rings, and I
That's me.
wear glasses, and I just my face is too fat. I can't get in there. So yeah,
um,
I set a rifle up a little bit different than most people do.
why is that?
It's just
Comfortable?
man, it's not what I really started with, but man, I've spent a lot of time playing with rifles, and when I first started trying to shoot positional stuff and shooting off of props, I built a range a couple years ago, just a private testing range, and we I go down and do load development there. I can only shoot 350 yards, but me and Caleb shoot 100 yard and 350 yard down there with our center fire, but it mostly built it for rimfire and for training and stuff. And man, I've sat and played on all those props, and so in my opinion, and I'm no expert by any means, but my opinion and guys that
I mean,
run
you
a
kind
high,
of won the championship, so
well, the sun shines on a dog's butt every now and then, but I think guys, I think the more you have to work to get behind a rifle, the easier it is to influence what happens downrange or after the trigger goes off. I feel if you are if you're more upright, more natural on a rifle, I feel like you don't influence you have less chance of influencing the rifle. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
that's people that ask, and people that I've helped train. I try to, obviously want you to do what you're comfortable with, but if you ask my opinion, and I'm going to tell you this, that's what I think. I think that you are the less cheek you got hanging on a rifle, the less influence you have. I see a lot of people shoot out the top of targets when they're on a barricade or something, and I think that's part of it. Is your influence, you're pushing the rifle down because you're trying to get in an
Yeah.
awkward position and get on a rifle. Where if you're you know head up and being natural, I think it makes a difference.
Hmm. I like that. I mean,
For what it's worth.
that's not the answer I was expecting, but it makes sense.
What were you expecting? I'm interested to hear that.
I honestly just thought you'd say it was more comfortable just to have your head upright.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
I've seen a lot
It
of
is,
people.
but there's a good reason for it. Yeah. So,
Yeah, well, dude, I've seen a lot of guys running inch and a half mounts on comp guns, and it kind of seems to be the new direction that people are moving towards.
yeah.
Um, I like mine, um, but it's just a personal preference. I'm
I'm not.
super comfortable behind it, but
Yeah, I'm
um,
not trying to change it. I
oh yeah.
just. Yeah.
Okay, so you're also match directing rimfire matches at Gravestone now, right?
Yeah. So
Okay,
those of
so
you that what's
yeah,
that?
go ahead, go ahead.
No, those of you that don't know, Gravestone is a new venue we have here in North Texas, and Jake Graves brought that to us. It's only been open since September, and man, I got to go on about Gravestone for a second. It is wow, wow.
That's what I hear from everybody.
It is man. He is Jake would squeeze me like a pimple for saying this, but it's not nothing I haven't said to him before. But In this political climate and this day and age, to go out and spend that kind of money um, to open a shooting range, you got to be a little mentally unstable,
You got to have some
or
stones, man.
yeah, it's either mentally unstable or borderline window licking, or truly love the sport and the people involved in it. And in this case, I think it's both.
Yeah.
No, that dude is. I didn't know Jake real well. He asked me about 2 months before. He asked me about 2 months before it all opened up to if I would be interested in doing it, and I was like, yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And so his range is just. I'm only my little private training range or whatever is only about 15 minutes away. So they're Jake's. Matter of fact, Jake lives right close to me where I'm at in North Fort Worth, and don't want to give too many details there, but
Yeah.
the range is, Gravestone is just west of Weatherford, which is, if you're downtown Fort Worth, let's call it 45 minutes, straight west of downtown Fort Worth. And but man, it is when I first he asked me to be to run the rimfire matches out there. He knew that I've shot with Jake. I didn't know Jake real well. He's always a great dude. Um, when I can remember when me first getting started shooting center fire and would go end up at a match with Jake. He was the guy to beat, in one of those matches, and he asked me to do this, and I went out there and took a look at everything, and I was blown away. I knew, and just seeing it. So seeing it 6 weeks, let's say, before it opened, to the day that it opened, and then now we're coming up on our second rimfire match. It is, man, it changes every week. He is above and beyond. It's, man, it's a great place, and he is. I can't say enough about him. He's an awesome dude. I
Yeah.
can tell.
Jake's awesome.
Yeah, I can tell that he loves the sport and he loves the people in it. And
Yeah.
he just wants to help, and it's great. But yeah,
Yeah. I'm
that's
gonna have
been
him on here. I want to
yeah he
talk about Gravestone. Everyone I've talked to that's been there just rants and raves about how good he did, how great the place is. Um, Gravestone's going to start stocking Phalanx Arms ammo, so I'm excited about that. That should be there in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. I think I got to get
awesome,
a few things
awesome.
finalized. Yeah, oh, dude, I'm stoked. He's doing some like common PRS stuff, and then just like common hunting. Yep, all the PRCs, Dasher, GT, Creedmoor.
That's
Um,
ammo that he's stocking of yours. Is
yeah,
that what
yeah,
you're
that's
saying?
what he
Yeah.
ordered. Yeah,
Oh, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um, and then y'all just got loaners for the range for the rimfire matches as well, right?
Yeah. So, man, the first match went off really good. Let me back up just a little. First match went off really good. We had, it was the week before the rimfire finale, and there's diehard rimfire guys. Don't get me wrong, but they're not they're few and far between the
Yeah,
center fire guys. The center fire guys will drive from one coast to the other to shoot a match. And it's not even an issue. And I at one point in time I was the rimfire guy that would do that. I was in Huntsville on a Saturday and in Foul Bore the next morning, and they're like, "You drove up here to shoot a rimfire match?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love this," and I I want to get back on that in a minute, but the first match went great. Arkin Optics sponsored that. They gave away, man, I don't remember, 3 or 4 different scopes and a bunch of certificates. And those guys are, I know they're not really big in the center fire world. They're more of a, I don't want to downplay them. Gotta be careful what I say, but they're more of a, I guess, a budget friendly type optic. And
Yeah, they're a good option to get without having to spend a ton of money. I mean,
absolutely, yeah, and they're
yeah,
actually really great. I mean, they've got a new one out now that's a EP5 7 to 35, and man, that is a. I think I was just talking to the guy earlier. I think with a coupon you can buy that scope for $5.99, and
yeah, that's awesome.
dude, that scope is better than every $1,200 scope I've ever looked through, and it tracks, you know. So, but anyway, those guys came on board and sponsored that, and that you know after the first match, everybody, you know, as far as I know, there was a few complaints, and it was simple things like, you know, give us some shade on down on here on
Yeah,
this, and we messed up, and it was my fault. I ran 10 stages, and I let everybody squad the way they wanted to. So we had 35 shooters somewhere in that neighborhood, and there was basically 3 squads. And then with 10 stages, it ended up running until 3:30 in the afternoon, and it was middle of October, and it was 100 degrees. It was
yeah,
Texas, you know. Like I was thinking, oh, 10 stages ain't going to be bad. It's going to be nice and cool. Everybody's going to have a blast. Well, come 1:30, everybody's like, you know. So it was my
yeah,
fault. I should have, if we'd ran 10 stages and split it up into 5 squads, we would have still been out of there at a normal time, and everything would have
yeah,
been fine. But anyway, they told us, you know, after talking with the guy was like, you know, what's your goals here, and what do you know? I was like, man, I don't really want to get new shooters involved in this. And one of the biggest things I see with, you know, Prentice and them down there is they got loaner rifles, and basically,
yeah,
if you are new to this and you didn't know anything about it, you can show up at a match and pay a match fee, and they're going to give you a rifle and a kestrel, and you know, buy a couple boxes of ammo, go shoot it at the zero board as many times as you want, figure it out, and go have a freaking blast.
yeah,
And I basically told that guy that's what I want to do, you know. And so, long story short, which it wasn't short, I know, but got in contact with I don't know if I should say his name or not, but let's just say the what I think is the head honcho over Bergara in North America. And man, he was gracious enough to basically. I told him, I said, man, I hate asking for anything. You know, like I'm not. I don't do this, but
yeah,
if this is for a good cause, and you can tell me no. But I want some loaner rifles to get people started in this. And man, he told me, yeah, what do you want? You know, but basically the answer is yes. What do you want? And I said, well, man, if I could get 1 or 2 rifles. He's like, no, you don't really know how to do this. You need to ask for more, and then we'll settle down. And I said, man, I'm not asking you. I'm grateful. You know, I'm not asking you for more than what I think we need. Um, but you know, can you hook a brother up with a couple of rifles? And he's like, well, what do you really want? I said, okay, I want 100 rifles, but I'll settle for 2. He's like, you got it, you know. So he's sending me 2 rifles, and then you know, Arkin is they have a sister company, Outlier. They making barrels and chassis, and they got some pretty cool stuff there. And so he's sending me 2 rifles, and he's sending me whenever they get them in stock again. Bergara makes it's probably the best entry level. It's above entry level. It's the best start to a custom build for rimfire that you can do. They take their action, and they put a heavy barrel on it.
Hmm.
And so he's sending me some barreled actions and letting Arkin rig all those out. They're putting scopes and
No,
chassis
that's
on them and
awesome.
everything. So man, I feel
Dude,
blessed
The
about it.
Bergara, that's what I told everybody to get when I shot rimfire. If you're the Bergara rimfires out of the box, I think are probably the best factory. Not have to
It's
spend a crazy amount of money.
I'll,
It's
I'll
unbelievable.
I'll say this for a Remington 700 style
Hmm.
platform training rifle, it is absolutely the best bang for the buck. It is,
Yes.
and man, I've probably got. I was just telling the guy at Arkin this earlier. I bet I've set up 5 different rifles for people, and they've all been Bergara B14. Get people getting introduced that they've got the bug, they want to do it. This is their budget. Get us started, and it's B14s with Arc and EP5s on top, and that is,
Yep.
man, they should have a class for those. That would be fun. But man, they're good shooting rifles, and they'll shoot. I know you're not real big on knowing all the different rimfire stuff, but man, the
But I used to be a big rimfire nerd.
were you okay? Yeah,
Yeah, I started shooting so many centerfire matches. Same thing. I was shooting so many centerfire matches. It was taken away from the rimfire matches, and then I was like, I have way too much money tied up in this freaking rifle that I don't shoot anymore. So I finally sold it
yeah. Well,
last
those
year.
Bergaras will shoot the cheap like CCI standard velocity. They shoot that. Now that stuff's $4 a box at Academy, and man, you can do some damage with one of those. You
Yep.
can turn Caleb loose with one of those things, and he's gonna hurt your feelings. So it's it's a really cool deal. But
Okay, so I'm going to brag on you for a minute because I know you won't. So for those listening, so me and Shane are buddies, and after
don't
he
get
won,
carried away.
yes.
I'm just
So
kidding.
after Shane won, I called him to congratulate him, and we were just kind of chatting a little bit. And I asked him, I was like, "Well, so what now? Like, what are you gonna do now that you've won the finale and you're the overall champ?" And I'm paraphrasing because I've slept since then, but essentially, Shane's answer was, "I want to use what I've done to have a little bit of pull to be able to use it to get more and more people into the sport and help people grow and grow the sport." So I thought that was an amazing answer. It speaks to your character and it speaks to the kind of person you are. Um, but with that being said, what do you need or what would be nice for Gravestone to have for people to come shoot your rimfire matches? So you tell the other company reps listening to this episode, let them know what you could possibly need, and maybe we can see if we can make something happen.
Man, I wish you would have asked me this beforehand so I could think about it. But first off, thank you. Um, man, I just I want to be able to if 5 or 6 guys show up and kids. First off, exposure. Just I want everybody to know about it, and I want everybody to show up. Facebook does their thing, and man, there's there's no way, in my opinion, that Gravestone is not you're not waiting in line to get on a shooting bench. It is that kind of a place. There's nothing like it. Um, there's nothing like it within a 3, 4, 5 hour drive. And I'm
Oh, I
not
agree.
just
And so sorry, I don't mean to cut you up, but
no, you're
so
fine.
to paint a picture a little bit, like, so I'm trying, because honestly, I want to help you help people, so like if we can get you a couple pieces of equipment or something like that. But to paint a picture, it's, I think one of the nicest guys in precision rifle opened a phenomenal facility, and the rimfire matches are being run by the current rimfire champion. I mean, that's a hell. That
You
is
didn't have
a
to put all
hell.
that in there, but thanks.
No, but that's, dude. That's a hell of a setup. And honestly, I, it's not an environment or an experience that you're really going to get anywhere else. And both you and Jake are so passionate about growing, bringing people in, growing the sport, growing the matches, and so it's a worthwhile cause. So tell me one thing that would be useful. Like, do you need bipods? Do you need kestrels? Do you need
Yeah,
ammo?
we need. I mean, it would be awesome to have kestrels and bipods. That's the one thing we're lacking right now. L3I is willing to help. So they're going to help someone on the loaner rifles as far as some of the stuff we need for those. But you know, loaner rifle setups. Arkans. I've already feel bad asking those guys for anything. They've gone above and beyond or whatever. But it's yeah, just you know, I I felt like an idiot, but I emailed Armageddon to today and asked for hey, will y'all be willing to sponsor some shooting bags, and
Yeah,
I would email Weebad, but I shoot Armageddon stuff, and I felt like that was the right thing to do. But
yeah.
just shooting bags. One of the big things we're missing is ammo. Ammo is getting hard to find, and if Capstone or Lapula, whatever, would come on board and help us with that, man, that would be huge.
Case of ammo or something.
Yeah, yeah. Just, I mean, even CCI. If CCI,
Yeah, dude.
if you're listening, we'll take a couple of cases of standard velocity, no problem.
Yeah,
But
heck yeah. So,
I
so
just,
if anybody is listening to this that works for any of these companies that want to help, please reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with Shayne or Jake at Gravestone. Or if you're listening and have connections with these companies, or if you have shit sitting in the back of your closet, like I know freaking all of us do, and we'll talk at the end of this. I may have some stuff I can send you.
uh,
Um, but yeah, it's just I want to see y'all succeed. It's just it's good people doing a good thing. So
man, that means a lot, dude. Thank you so much, and
yeah, dude.
I truly love it. And there's nothing. I just go back to, I'm 45 years old. I shot my first match. I don't know, I was 41 or 42, and I smiled like a little kid, and I've seen that look on these young kids, young little boys, little girls alike, that they, they, I'll never forget this. The weekend that Jake opened up, they had, they call it the Alpha Range. He's got a covered, covered 1,000 yard bay. I say bay, it's not a bay. It's a covered 1,000 yard
Firing line.
shoot firing line. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And he's got, man, an 18 wheeler worth of steel. Just there's double KYL racks at every yardage, all the way to 1,000 yards. There's some life size targets out there. Man, it was crazy. While I was out there, so me and Caleb volunteered our time to run the Alpha Range, because basically I had an open house, and you come in and did a orientation type thing, and go up to the 1,000 yard. That was the only part of the range that was open. So by the way, I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but by the way, there's 20 plus stages of center fire props that are open 7 days a week. You show up at this range, you want to practice the PRS barricade, you got it. You want to shoot off concrete culverts, you got it. You want to shoot out of a helicopter, which, by the way, I hate helicopters. You don't even go there. You want to shoot out a helicopter?
Yeah, that helicopter saved my ass.
You can shoot out of a helicopter and nobody's there to watch you. Nobody's there to make fun of you. You can shoot out of a Hummer. You can shoot out of a school bus. By the way, the school bus is way longer than the one you rode to school. It is, but there's a. I mean, you name it, dude. There's props.
That's
there's
awesome.
Connex boxes. You name it. There's everything in the world to shoot off of. And then that's not counting. There's 20 plus stages of that. That's not counting the rimfire. There's all the rimfire stuff is. There's steel to 400 yards for truing up rimfire. There's a zero board and steel plates all the way to 400. It gets painted every morning. And then every rimfire prop that is what I consider to be a good rimfire prop. There's no 5-gallon buckets, no trapezes, no hammocks. We're not shooting off any of that stuff. It's all
solid.
Yes, solid. It's
Yeah.
all that's something I wanted to go down, but yeah, it's all solid. But I forgot where we were going with this, but
we were talking about gravestone and building the matches.
Yeah. So I don't even remember where we were, but yeah, my goal is to get people involved in shooting. Period, and it doesn't have to be. We plan to do some other things. I know there's a lot of people that can't physically do PRS, and I know where I was going with that. We were on the Alpha range, and I had I was playing with my 22, and there was guys that come up there, and you could tell there was the casual deer hunter that had shot maybe 200 yards one time, with their grandpa's 30-06 or whatever, and then hey, I'm not making fun of those guys. That's the foundation of what we've become now, right? So I was playing with that 22, and I had shot. I think I hit. I know I hit 600 yards, and I think I hit 700 yards playing around with that thing. And there's this young kid that come in with his dad, and he was a real timid young kid, and he was kind of shy coming up there, and there wasn't really anybody on the firing line shooting big guns, or the kid wasn't going to have it. But I was like, hey man, you want to shoot this? You want to shoot this 22? It's just 22. Let's see how far you can shoot. And man, I put him on a 300-yard target, and he hit it like the first shot. And his dad was blown away by that. What? You kidding me? It's like, no, man. It's amazing what they're doing with them. But the smile on that kid's face, man, that is. I knew I rambled for 15 minutes to get to that point, but
that's what it's all about, man. And that's why I liked Rimfire. It was. I mean, you can bring kids, you can bring the family, you can shoot all day without ear pro. There's no recoil. I mean, it's the best way I ever heard it described is like going to shoot your first rimfire match is like getting that free bump of cocaine from your dealer. Like, come out and do it for free, and you will develop a really expensive habit real fast.
I tell people all the time, if you're financially responsible, this is not the sport for you, So
yeah,
no, man, I truly love it. And as far as rimfire goes, but first off, let me go back. Thank you very much. And man, if there's anybody that wants to help, you can help by showing up. You can help by spreading the word. I mean, I'm one of those people that if you showed up and I knew that you were going to take care of my stuff, you can shoot the winning national rifle. I can't shoot. I walk around and take pictures and enjoy the smiles. So, we're going to if you show up and want to shoot, we're going to make it happen one way or the other. If I got to go to to Walmart and buy some of Caleb's CZs, we'll do it, you know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thank you for that. But man, I love this stuff, and I love rimfire. You know, it's what I like about it. This is bad business for you, but what I like about it is I don't have to. It's the good
Reload.
and the bad. I don't have to reload. You know, the good of that is I don't have to be in this room, you know, reloading
Yep.
3 nights for to go shoot for one day on the weekend. The bad of that is I'm not reloading and I get what I get, right? You know,
Right.
so but everybody has to shoot the same, you know,
Yep.
everybody has the same it's not if, it's when you get one of those rounds, you know. So
Right. Oh,
but
and I didn't ask you what ammo do you shoot?
I've shot this year. I've shot Lapua. I've shot
Is it
Ely.
Center
I've shot
X?
Lapua. No, minus plus is
Minus
what I
plus.
shot. Yeah. And it just happened to be I've shot a lot of when I say a lot, it's lot number. I shot a lot number of Lapua super long range pretty much most of the year, and this new rifle wasn't having it. It just
Yeah.
wasn't happy, and I owe it to Caleb. He had just a random lot of minus plus, and when I shot it through there, I could still picture my face. You know,
Yeah.
it was man. It had Phalanx Arms SD and extreme spread. I was like, yeah.
Dude, it's that was the thing that always blew my mind, man. So I shot so I had a Voodoo and I shot Center X out of it. And I will admit I was a lazy rimfire shooter. I didn't test lots.
Well,
I would buy Center X, and now also when I was doing it is when it was impossible to find it, so I just bought
yeah,
whatever I could find.
yeah. You didn't have a
I didn't have a
choice.
single lot of Center X shoot bad out of that gun, and dude, it didn't matter what lot it was. It was always within like 5 to 10 feet per second of the other lot, and my SDs were always like 3, 4, 5. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
it
great.
blew my mind how
Yeah,
good they can get this rimfire ammo.
yeah.
Um,
You
okay, so
you're paying for that stuff, but it is really good. I mean, it is surprisingly good.
yes, yeah. Okay, so to change directions a little bit. So tell me kind of your thoughts on like the correlation between rimfire and centerfire. Like what do you think it's good to practice rimfire for centerfire, or do you think it creates bad habits, or what's your thoughts on the tie between the two?
Um, well, I have an opinion on this, and I don't know that I'm the gospel to this or not, but in my opinion, rimfire was designed or come about to train us um, to go to the next level and shoot centerfire. It is my
Okay.
belief. Now, I'm a person that shoots both. I started in rimfire, um, but I shoot both. It is my belief that a rimfire match, and I'm kind of tangenting on your question, but my opinion of rimfire match should mimic what you see at a top tier regional 1 day or two
Or
day pro level match.
I'm so glad you said, because I agree. Dude, especially kind of back in the day, dude, some of the gimmicky shit that kind of came out in rimfire, it just
Totally ruins it for me.
I
Totally
hated
ruins it
it,
for me.
man. And it's come a long way. There's still a little bit here and there, depending on, and everyone has a different definition of what's gimmicky and what's not. So
Agreed.
it is what it is.
And
But there,
everybody likes a different style of match, you
right,
know. But I am not one that does. You will never ever, as long as I have anything to do with it, unless Jake beats me up, we're not ever having
which is
any.
possible.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, especially with my mouth. But it's as long as I have anything to do with it, we're never have. We're just gonna be. I feel like I've said this till I'm blue in the face, but it's straightforward. Like
Yeah.
if it's not, if you wouldn't see it at a 2-day match, um, you're not going to see it at one of my matches. I
Yeah.
don't. I want. So this is my big hang up on it, and it's the the game we're playing is PRS. What's P stand for?
Precision.
Exactly. And
I agree.
there's not precision in most of this crap, and like the Rimfire guys already get a bad enough name, and a lot of them we do it to ourselves, like and I'm not going to say any names, but win call diary, the stuff
That's
that's
what I
like,
was just thinking, dude. That guy rips rimfire shooters to death.
dude, that guy, God Almighty, he makes some of the stuff he comes up with. I die laughing. Love that dude. I'm not saying no names, but
Oh yeah, dude. It's so funny.
by the way, if you're listening to this, I know hopefully you are. You're welcome to bring that six Creedmoor down here to any rimfire match. I'll wear you out with this 22. I hope he listens to this, but
Yeah.
no, what are we talking about? So, man, I think rimfire needs to stay on track with as far as. So, one of my biggest things is, and there are going to be a lot of people probably shouldn't say this, but this is my opinion. Uh, you shouldn't be allowed to be a match director for PRS if you're not an active shooter or at least shoot a couple matches a year. I think that is, if I was president, Ken Wheeler, if you're listening, and I had any say so, that you should have to shoot a couple matches a year to understand what's really going on and what we want as shooters. Um, Probably shouldn't have said that, but
Well, but the reality of it is, I mean, dude, guys that shoot matches know what shooters want
yeah,
and what they deserve when they show up to a match. I mean, I get it. It's
man,
I don't disagree.
if there was man, I hate to even say this, but if there was the level of competition in and not, please don't nobody take that the wrong way. Um, if there was the same, I want to say this though, and I don't know how else to say it. If there was the same level of comment, and Caleb's, we've had this discussion. If there was the same type of competition in the rimfire game, as far as not just, how do I say this? Everything I'm trying to say is coming
Like,
out.
if the level of competition was as high in rimfire as it is in centerfire,
Not just a competition. If we had the same type of matches everywhere in
the
the
consistency and like,
consistency, there you go.
yeah,
That's what I was looking for. But I would shoot way more rimfire matches than I do centerfire. Now it's the other way around. I shoot a handful of rimfire matches because I miss all those guys that don't cross over.
yeah,
I've got great friends on both sides of this,
right.
and but there's, I don't know, man. I think there should be some normalcy to it, and it has. I think for the most part, you're starting to level out in this area. But and for a
Yeah,
while, these guys were their own worst enemy. You wanted to be. You open Instagram, you're getting made fun of. Well, it was your fault. You're the one
right.
that. So
Well, and that's why I'm pumped that you're running matches. And so there's a guy here locally in Amarillo that it's Bomb City Precision is the name of our club, and he puts on great matches.
I've never
Um,
heard of him. I'll have to come check him out.
yeah, it's Josh Fails. But yeah, he runs Bomb City Precision, and it's there's not as many shooters up in this neck of the woods, so
Yeah.
the matches are definitely smaller, but he puts on a great match, and he's hosted a 22X match here. I mean, he does great. Um,
Good. Good.
but yeah, the direction. I think the rimfire matches are heading in the right direction. Um, I think there's maybe still a few kinks here and there, but and I also get it too because it's a lot of people do use it as like a gateway into all of this. So you don't necessarily always have the pinnacle competitor that's nitpicking every little thing, and so I mean I get it for sure. But so back to but wh- do you think rimfire correlates? Like, do you think the skill set crosses over?
So yes, to answer your question, yes. There's a little caveat in there. If you're at the right match, if you're at being saying that the right rimfire match, 100%. Movement with the rifle, target acquisition, wind calls, even more so a lot of times. We don't have seven saws in rimfire.
Yeah.
uh, um, time management,
Yep.
all of those things are easily skills that are built playing with rimfire. Depending on how you do it, a third or even a fifth of the cost.
Yeah.
Especially if you go in there if you go in there budget, completely budget, and I'm talking shoot,
Right.
budget ammo, budget rifle, all that. You probably can get down to a tenth of those costs of a competitive centerfire rifle.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm far off there either.
You're so before you go on, I want to get into this a little bit to kind of get people some figures. So uh just well for a video that I'm working on. So when I put the new parts on my centerfire rifle, I added everything up, and
Does your wife
my
listen to this?
no. Yeah.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully Stephanie doesn't because I don't
Yeah.
have near that. I don't have near the money in my rifles usually. Go ahead.
But my centerfire rifle is $11,000.
Yeah.
And my first rimfire setup that I started competing with, I had I think I had $900 in
Yeah.
it. I mean, it was a Ruger RPR with a Vortex Diamondback Tactical.
Yeah. And so don't first off, anybody who's listening to this that's thinking about maybe going down this rabbit hole, don't let that I shoot that rifle that I'm shooting was close to $6,000 before you put anything on it. No scope,
Right.
no nothing, So
Right.
but you do not have to go to that level. I mean, it is not.
Yes. Yeah. And sorry, that's
I
that's
promise
where I
you, I
was.
don't have any more fun with that rifle than you did with your $450 Ruger. I mean, it's just that's the matter. That's the matter of fact.
Yep.
And
And that's kind of the whole deal is like, people that are because and I like so in the media or social media and everything that's marketed for PRS, like you generally see uh pictures and videos from 2 day matches, and it's guys with open guns, um and and it's expensive, and the ammo is expensive, it's just everything about it. But rimfire, there's so many different price points that you can get in. You can do like what I did. You can do the Bergara and Arkin for 1,500 bucks or so.
yeah,
You know,
probably that neighborhood. Yeah,
yeah, or all the way up to a full custom build like what you got. But and you can shoot standard CCI standard velocity for 4 or 5 bucks a box, or you can shoot Center X was it's more expensive, but it's still not bad. I mean, it's 13, 14, 15 bucks a box.
yeah.
It,
That was COVID prices. It's more than
is it
that
higher
now.
now?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I've been out
I
of it for
mean,
a little bit.
10x, 10x, and super long range are when you can find it. That's your $22 to $25 a box now for
Yeah.
So call it 50 cents a round.
Yeah,
That's
but I
still
mean, dude,
half the cost of if
I
you've
was gonna
got
say that
everything for center fire,
year round is the same. It costs less than the freaking a burger it's it's I say I would say you can get into it for very reasonable and dude, especially like that Bergara Arkin combo, like dude, you'll be able to shoot that. Like if
Man,
you
if
never want to
you
outgrow that rifle setup, you won't. You know what I mean? Like you could
say that
stick
again,
around and do it.
say that again. I
You,
didn't hear you. Sorry.
you, you could shoot that rifle and not ever grow out of
Oh no, no, no. That was exactly what I was fixing to touch on. So for those of you that are new to this and are interested at all, rimfire is you're at the. You've heard me say this a couple of times. You might not have understood what I meant. You're at the mercy of someone else's manufacturing the ammo.
it.
So you do what we call lot testing, and there's places when they have ammo in stock that will you can call and order a box of two of each lot of ammo, and it's basically the day, time, whatever that ammo was manufactured, and it's all the projectile might be a little different from lot to lot or whatever, but basically go out and shoot your rifle and figure out which one of these lots shoots the best out of your rifle. And it doesn't mean it has to be the most expensive stuff. Some of the best shooting ammo I've ever played with was the cheaper line of SK, which is a sister company of Lapua, I
Yep.
think. Hopefully, I'm saying that right,
Yeah, yeah,
but
it
to
is.
my
Dude, that's
knowledge,
what Reagan and Joe shot SK Match forever because it
yeah,
shot so good out of
I
their boots.
one of the best lots of and my if I might be wrong, but the way I understand it is SK Standard Plus is like the Lapua Center X. That's their
Yeah.
now I know the Center X is a lot more than the Standard Plus, but I think that's how that correlates over. So one's a Chevrolet, one's a GMC, I think, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But man, it doesn't have to be the most. Where I was going with this doesn't have to be the most expensive ammo. It's whatever your rifle likes, and then
Hmm.
you buy as much of that as you can possibly get because that lot is one time and one time only. So, but yeah, man, you can. In my opinion, you can definitely train to shoot center fire. I mean, for example, maybe this is a good example, maybe it's a bad example, but I think, and man, I could be wrong, but I want to say the first or maybe the second ever center fire match I ever went and shot was just a regional level. Um, I got second place coming from shooting rimfire. Um, and I don't remember if it was the first or second match I ever shot coming from rimfire into that. But I do know that the only reason I got second place is because the first stage of the morning I held brain farted and held wind the wrong direction on a target, and dropped three points that morning, and lost the match by one or whatever. So that's proof right there that
Yep.
it's one. There's a lot of things that cross over. Like I said in the beginning, the biggest thing is learning to drive a rifle and spotting
Yep.
impacts. Is something I struggle with even to this day. Is doing that with shooting center fire because I don't know if it's 45 and losing my eyesight a little more every day, and the fact that I'm welding all day long, or whatever it is, but I'm slowly gaining that skill, and it's improving my center fire scores. And but so yeah, moving from rimfire to center fire, man, I didn't. I learned a ton about wind and didn't struggle on that side of it. It was more or less, now you're dealing with percussion and you shoot
Yep.
100 rounds in a day. You're dealing with all that. But no, man, it's and now that I've gotten to the point where I'm at in center fire shooting, when I back up with a rimfire, man, feel like it's easy. I can see it. Things I didn't see at first with a rimfire, now I see it all,
Yeah.
So it's because it's just,
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I agree. I think shooting rimfire, PRS rimfire, I would go out on a limb and say everything correlates to center fire except recoil management. It's the only thing.
yeah,
Recoil management and the concussion.
I
So
agree.
so if so as someone who did a ton of rimfire and is now shooting center fire, what did you do to help get over that?
Man, dude. Rounds down range. It is, man, I had to go and work on, I'd go to the range and I would work on one little thing. And, me and
Like
Caleb,
what? Like give me an example
um,
of one thing.
man, like I'd go to, there's a lot of people that claim they see everything, when they send around, and
Oh, come on. You don't see 100% of the shots that you send?
no, man, if I did, I would be,
That'd be a hell
be,
of a lot better.
yeah, yeah, I'd be, you'd be talking to Shane Bushman right now, but no, I,
Yeah,
I
I hear if you go paintballing, it makes you a really good PRS shooter.
man, I don't ever wish that on anybody.
Oh no, no, no. I give him shit all the time. I love him.
No, I know. I didn't mean it in a bad way, but no, it's he like that dude is something else. I get sometimes I wake up in the morning happy. Sometimes I wake up mad, and it's because I think about a one-eyed guy that shoots left-handed beating me. So.
Well, I mean, if you could shoot out of helicopters, you probably would have beat him.
That was too soon. Still too soon. Still too soon.
For those that don't know, that silent night, Shayne was winning the match, and it was the very last stage, right?
Yeah, it would have been my first 2 day match win, and I had it till the very very last stage, and
Would you drop like 3 or 4 or something like that?
I don't even remember. I honestly, yeah, I think it was that neighborhood, or 3 or 4 shots, but man, I don't even know what happened. I didn't. It was. I remember. I remember. Man, I can't tell you what happened. I don't know. I know that I think I hit my first shot. It was. I remember Tate coming off right in front of me and saying, "Yeah, it's what you think it is." And I was like, "All right." And so it kind of was all a blur. I knew the wind started picking up, so we didn't have any wind. Do you remember that night? We had no wind at all for, I don't know, five or six, 5 or 6 stages, and then
Most of the night.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, right there at the end, the wind picked up and started swirling around, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I'm trying to look through binoculars and see mirage at night. You can't see nothing. I got a wind flag on my tripod, and I just remember thinking, "Oh man, what do I do?" Because I can't. This is last stage. I can't. I was. Somebody had mentioned that I think Morgan King was down. He had dropped 2 points. I dropped one the first night, and the only reason I dropped one the first night was
No, Morgan was clean. Morgan only dropped one the whole match,
that's
and it
right.
was the second night.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I dropped one the first night because I shot the wrong target. And I was clean on the second night, and Morgan had dropped one that night. So we were tied, and that's what it was. I remember now. Somebody come up and said, "Man, you and Morgan are tied, and you got him because you got him on the tiebreaker." And I was like, "Oh my God, why did you tell me that?"
But I will say, man.
No, but no, yeah, last stage wind picked up going crazy. I remember Tate shot it. I watched Tate through through glass and could see, he stayed centered up. And it was a straightforward KYL stage out of that
Right.
helicopter. Big to small, move, big to small. And I remember hitting my first shot. I think I hit just a little right of center. And I made just a minute correction. And the second one, the second target was big enough that there's no way you missed it if you sent the same shot,
Yeah.
But I made a minute correction and it hit like way off plate, almost hit the first plate. And I was like, oh, what was that? And I like can't trust that. That was a bad shot. Send another one. It was off the other side, and I'm like, oh man, I don't remember from that. It was bad, but it was that was
Yeah, but you know what's crazy, man? So I dropped one shot both nights, and both of them were in the middle of that stage. Like I think both of them were like my fifth or sixth shot of that stage.
on the helicopter stage.
No. So the first one was off the tower.
Uh-huh.
I dropped one off the tower the first night, and then the second night I dropped one off the tires, on the far end.
That's what got me the first night. Yeah.
And both stages, shooting centered up, miss, I've been hitting all night, and I stopped, checked everything, looked, sent the same shot, hit back to center, and then finished up and so I don't know what happened those two shots. I want to, because I mean, I was taking my time. Trigger presses were good. I want to say something wind related happened, but there was so little wind most of that match. I honestly don't know what happened.
Well, see, I tried to break that down, and I had this conversation with I don't know how many people. And the thing about it is, yeah, the wind switched up on me before I shot, but there was not enough wind to make me miss the target the way I missed it. Does
Right.
that make sense? There was
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I could have. There was maybe enough wind to slip me off the little one, but there was not enough wind to slip me as far off of
Off the big one.
Yeah, the bigger one.
Yeah.
So, man, my only thing was, and I actually, I was back up there a little bit later, and I actually drove up to that helicopter to look. The only thing I could come up with is I remember when I got down in my first position where I'm shooting through the front door of the helicopter, I cut my elbow where I got, and I wasn't really comfortable. I had to after I sent the first shot, I readjusted my bag because I cut my elbow. And the only thing I could come up with is that when I shooting at night, and when I readjusted my gun and bipod and all that, that I was shooting and nicking the edge of the helicopter door. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Maybe so.
And I couldn't see anything,
Leave it up to you to hit the door of a 6 foot wide door frame. Oh man. Well, dude, we'll wrap it up, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been awesome. It's been awesome getting to know you. Congratulations again. Dude, it's an accomplishment to win the finale. It's an accomplishment to win the series, but to do both and finish the season with a 600 is pretty freaking impressive. So,
well, man,
hats off to you, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for joining. There's a lot of cool things coming up. The podcast is gonna have some big changes by the end of the year that I'm really excited about. Guys, get out, go to Gravestone, check out a match, check out a rimfire match, go shoot with Shayne, and check it out. Get signed up for the NRL Dust Devil duel here in Amarillo. Go to Gravestone, pick up some sweet ammo, it's all a lot of good things going on.
I might come RO that just for one of those chairs. I'm just kidding.
that's
I'm gonna come
that's
shoot it.
not really public information
Oh
yet.
yeah, my bad, my bad. No, I'll see
uh,
you there.
dude, there's more coming. That is crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. Actually, you want to see my new NRL setup?
Yeah.
That
Are you gonna pause this or are you gonna
just
figure
yeah,
it
just
out?
anytime.
All right.
So for those of y'all on YouTube, you can see this. So um this I'm this is gonna be my new open heavy setup, and I'm gonna run teams with it with Dan.
Cool.
But Foundation Revelation, Lone Peak, Loophole Mark Five. We're both running 25/7 PRCs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're gonna run 133s at 32.75 because that's the speed limit.
Uh,
And then yeah, that's it.
what's
And
your
then
win call?
huh?
What's your win call at 600?
Straight up. But I'm pretty stoked. I think this is going to be a really good setup. I'm going to send it to Dan, to Cerakote.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Um, I can't wait, dude. I think the 25/7 I think is gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
Really, really fun. They've in like their testing, dude. It's my here. Just for shits and giggles, I ran I built a profile on my Kestrel, and at Amarillo elevation, my dope at 1,000 is 5.2 mils.
Wow. Wow.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I just got bullets a couple days ago, and I got to get this broken in. I'm going hunting in like 3 weeks. But I think this will run like 3350. I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that is awesome.
But
Well,
yeah, I
dude,
think teams and that'll be a good time.
yeah, I think we're gonna have to come out. Me and Caleb are gonna have to come out.
Oh yeah, dude, y'all should come. And on, so we're trying to get more PRS shooters to come to this. Because honestly, so and not to go into a different, just a quick note.
Oh, yeah.
So like I worked once I kind of figured out what I needed to work on PRS wise. I went and spent a lot of time at the range figuring out how to get stable and trigger, and I feel like I've built those skills really well. But what always killed me was like my mental processing. I just um I'm an idiot, yeah, honest, and I have to work really hard to keep everything straight in my head. And NRL Hunter has helped me with that, just
Yeah.
because everything's on the fly. Seeing what you got to shoot off of, what position you're going to build, your win call, like it's all just off the
It
cuff, and
is
it's
more.
helped
It
me a lot.
is. It definitely teaches you to be a more well-rounded shooter. It
Oh,
is.
100%.
It is. It's not scripted. You are on the
Yep.
clock. Figure it out. Here's your targets. Go for it. And
Yeah.
I not to take anything away from PRS. That's my love for sure. But dude, NRL Hunter is a blast, and it's
It is, man. It's a good time.
one of the great things about PRS is getting to chat with your buddies and talk
Yep.
talk shit with your buddies. But man, NRL Hunter is even a whole lot more of that. It seems like because it's
Yeah.
more back nonchalant, and
Because you
there's
can't do anything when you're not shooting. So all you do is sit and bullshit with
drop
your
up on
friends.
your backpack and make fun of each other, So
Yeah.
that was Caleb's. That was Caleb's training plan for me was make fun of me all year long and make me a better shooter.
That's awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate it, man. And congrats
Thank you so
again.
much.
And guys, thank y'all so much for listening. And I'll see you on the next one.